The J. Michaels Show.
Welcome to this episode of The J. Michaels Show. We've got a wonderful guest for you. Actually, two. Frank and River from wht.rbbt.obj. I know it's an odd name for a band, but they are a wonderful band that you're going to love hearing from them. But first, before we get started, let me remind you to subscribe to the channel wherever you're getting it, video and audio or just audio. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow button and like button and comment button and all those buttons. Just, we love it when you support us here at the J. Michaels Show. Okay, now, White Rabbit Object with Frank and River. Let's say hello to them. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, doing good. Yeah, doing good. I'm so glad to have you on this show. I know that you've been through Texas and played. I didn't get to see you then, but you were on the Texas Music Cafe not long ago. Or how long has it been?
It's been, we played Texas Music Cafe back in 2023. So coming up on 3 years.
Is it 23?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Wow. Okay.
Wow, time flies.
Yeah, March of 2023.
Yeah, we did a little run. We hit Dallas. We did Waco, Texas Music Cafe, and then we went on to. We had a performance at South by Southwest, and then we came back through Nashville, I think it was, for that little leg that we did back then. So
I'm so sorry.
Love Waco, by the way. Love Waco.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that I missed you. I wanted to see that show. I wanted to see you guys live. Let's talk a little bit about the band White Rabbit Object. First of all, where did you get that name?
Well, the band started as a literal secret. We were both in different projects, both of our own thing, and the intent was that we would never be playing in the same band together. Married couples don't usually do well together in the same band. Mm-hmm. So we had kind of this unspoken rule that my music was my music and her music was her music, and neither of the twine shall meet. But lo and behold, needless to say, when you have two musicians, at some point in time, something's going to happen. And we ended up, I had a song written for my old band that ended up becoming kind of the first thing that White Rabbit Object ever did. And we didn't want to scare anybody off from our other projects. We didn't want necessarily anybody to know what we were doing. So we wanted to create like this complete clandestine band. Abandoned secret that was just going to kind of release a single every now and again. We were going to be able to hide behind it. And we figured the name looking like computer code like that was a fun way to do it. And White Rabbits obviously have all the Alice in Wonderland references, the reference to our last name, the Rabbits. So kind of seemed like a natural thing to do.
Well, and to be quite frank with you, no pun intended,
Frank.
But Frank always wanted to name a band White Rabbit Object, so there's a little pop culture reference in there too, but that's for your listeners to go and discover for themselves.
Yeah. Who is the primary writer of your music? Is it Frank or is it River, or both of you together, or who writes the most?
I would say it's split
We're pretty
down
50-50.
Yeah. There are times when I will come to the projects, or really just to Frank, just like with us being the principal writers for the group. I'll come with a song fully intact, and so like a little thing will get changed here and there by Frank, and then vice versa. He'll come with something that's fully formed and we'll sort of work it out together. And then there are other times when either one of us will be like, I have a melody, I have this idea for a riff in my head, I've got this set of chords, I don't know what to do with it. And then we really just like sit down and write together until the song is fully formed. But it usually happens in that sort of triangle where it's like either one of us are bringing something to the table or we're both working on it collectively. But I do think that even those songs that, you know, either one of us bring to the table, you know, it never ends up being like solely one person. It's always influenced by, you know, the other one's ideas as well.
Do you have several EPs or LPs out, or is it just this one EP that's about to come out or is coming out now?
So we started off. We wrote the thing that kind of launched the band. After we had done a couple of early demos, we got some radio play. People started to get interested, and the thing that kind of launched the band was a single that we released called Jolene's Reply, and that was back in 2020. And then after that, we released another single called Once More Down the Rabbit Hole, and then we did our first EP. And the first EP was Whiskey Hotel Tango. We call this the NATO Call Sign Trilogy with these 3 records. So the first EP was 5 songs, Whiskey Hotel Tango. The next EP, that was in 2023. 2024 was Romeo Bravo Bravo Tango. And now in 2025, we're doing Oscar Bravo Juliet. So it's just following the letters in the band's name.
So, I mean, and you're following kind of a military protocol. Is there a reason for that?
Other than the call signs and the secret codes and all of those fun things, that's really the only reason. Although we were talking about how this last album has kind of been a culmination of kind of everything we ever wanted to do. I think the other 2 EPs, you know, doing just 5 songs, it kind of limits you to a certain degree.
Yeah, and I would say too that like with this specific set of records, I think we always set out like wanting to do some sort of concept, but you know, the concept being like the mystery of the band and sort of like taking that in like sort of 3 stages, like beginning, middle, end. You know, I think that, you know, when you listen to these records side by side, you can sort of see the evolution from like where we began to where we're at now. And while we don't know what's next for White Rabbit Object in terms of like aesthetic, the sound, etc., you know, we've got some ideas for our next record, but this was really like our way of like, you know, saying we're here to our audience and you know, starting to gain a listener base. And it's been really fun to create these 3 records.
If you had to describe your music, put it in a particular genre, how would you label it?
I don't know that I could give you a genre for it, but I could give you 3 like words to describe it, because I think that as a group we tend to bend genres, and I would say that our music is very cinematic. It's very unnerving at times, but it's always true to us and what we're feeling in that moment. I don't think any one song that we have sounds the same as another one. I think that they all sort of have their own personality, and we really like try to do what's best to serve the song and not our ego. Other outlets like NPR and things like that have, you know, described us as like the Black Keys challenge Amy Winehouse to a game of strip poker, and you know, things like that. I think there's a lot of, and I think that
Roadhouse Raunch.
Roadhouse Raunch. I think it comes from the fact though that like Frank and I come from such different like musical backgrounds, and neither one of us shy away from those backgrounds, but like we're always happy to like come together and create something new. And I really think that that's what informs our sound. So yeah, I don't know that I could really put us in a genre, but we're fun to listen to.
Okay, well, let me put both of you on the spot here for a moment. Each of you tell me what do you come from? You said you come from different musical backgrounds. What is each of your background?
I'll let you go ahead.
So most of my background was initially probably, I would describe it as mostly in blues. And then when I started actually writing music, initially it definitely leans more towards blues, but I think as my prior projects started getting more and more, it was definitely very garage rock. It was leaning more towards a garage or maybe even a pop punk kind of sound, more than anything else. That's kind of where I kind of came from in the dial.
And then for me, I'm classically trained. I'm a classically trained pianist and vocalist. I grew up singing and playing classical music, and then eventually found myself playing jazz music. And I was in like a sort of like neo soul, like jazz pop sort of group that I was fronting and wrote all the music for. But yeah, I think that those two things actually like work really, really well together. So yeah, we both definitely like especially like when we first like got together, just like as a couple, like I think there was a lot of like, oh, like that's interesting. You listen to that. I listen to this, because like he was all like, the Sonics and the Animals and Jack White and like Alt J and like this really cool like, sort of soundscape that I had not really like delved into before. And like I was like, here, listen to all my Miles Davis and Hank Mobley and John Coltrane records and Tape Brubeck, and like just here, listen to Return to Forever. And that was really, I don't know, I think it just kind of like helped us understand each other better, but also like understand who we were, not only as like people but as musicians as well.
You had mentioned that you're a classically trained pianist. What instruments do each of you play? And I got a follow-up question when you tell me that.
So I've played guitar, lead guitar, bass, and drums in bands at some point in my life, at some point in time. Right now, for White Rabbit Object, I'm sitting on the bass on a day-to-day basis. That's my instrument for the band. And we've got a guitarist, Mike Van Opel, who is a much better guitar player than I ever was. So it's nice. I always say that it's easy to find very, very, very good guitar players. It's not always easy to find bassists who want to answer what the song needs. So that's kind of my.
Sometimes you can't find them; they're just too expensive.
Well, yeah, and they would be paid.
And then for me, I play. I'll only tell you the instruments I play well. I am obviously a vocalist. I am a piano player. I play keys, synthesizers, and then also play guitar.
You're a Hammond artist.
Yes, I am a Hammond organ artist. So my keyboard setup that I have is all through Hammond organ, and yeah, I'm very lucky that they believe in me.
Good. Okay, so now the follow-up question. When you're writing your music, which instrument do you have in front of you to put that music together?
Sometimes it's the guitar. Honestly, sometimes it's a drum machine and the bass. On this most recent record, that's how Monsters of Nothing started. I had words and kind of a drum beat idea and the bass guitar. And I kind of laid that all out, and just it created this wonderful playing field for the other musicians in the band, for River and for Mike to really explore different sounds and really make it sound very, very sci-fi movie, or I don't know what you would refer to it as. But
yeah, and it really gave like a great roadmap for AC to really like
our drummer.
AC, who's our drummer, to like really find his like pocket in the song too. Yeah. For me, I feel like I normally don't have an instrument in front of me when I'm first sitting down to write. I usually I feel like my best thoughts come to me at the most inconvenient moments. Like if I'm like on a train or in the car or somewhere in public, or like I can't like, so I'm like trying to like quietly like take a voice note like on my phone. Or I like usually like I always carry like I have a journal that I carry with me, and I'll scribble down ideas in there for lyrics and such. And sometimes they come in big chunks, but other times they like are just like these tiny little like fragments of ideas. And then usually I'll come up with a melody, and then I'll try to, it's really like hit or miss, like whether I end up with like guitar or piano in front of me. It's kind of like different every time.
Yeah. Do you guys have a like home recording studio, or do you go into a studio to record?
We have both. Our home studio is pretty makeshift. Lots of random gear stored in random places, which is cool. We definitely have more than we need to like flesh out ideas at home. And then of course we have Soul Honey Records where we record in Chicago. We're able to go there, when we're really like fleshing out like the big ideas and like starting to put things together for the records that we're working on. But yeah, we've got a good mix of home and away.
Wow. Okay. And when you're on tour, how much of that stuff do you carry with you?
None of it.
None of the recording stuff.
Occasionally we'll bring like the little like the drum machine or the little key whatever. Always have a laptop,
The MIDI
keyboard, sometimes a drum machine, usually a laptop. I'm a very analog girl, so like I will like, for me it's like the ideas have to be written down, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe this is like a very naive thing to say, but I'm like, oh, if I forget how it went, then it probably wasn't that good of a song anyway. So yeah, but I definitely, we usually have something with us to like keep that inspiration in our back pocket.
So, quick question for both of you: pure or add computer enhancements?
Ooh,
I don't think I don't know. Me personally, I'm not afraid. I kind of feel like.
Well, tell me a little bit about what you mean by computer enhancements?
Well, I mean, like, maybe using AI or trying to, I don't know how to put a very synthetic kind of feel to the sound.
I think that I have two answers for you on this question. And number one, I personally don't believe that AI has any place in music whatsoever. Me too. There's too much great artistry out there for AI to ever have a place in music. That's just like where I land on that. However, with that in mind, I do think that like I don't think we're afraid in the studio to like, again, we're about what serves the song. So if it's digitally enhancing, like I can tell you that there's a song on this next record that we're putting out that's coming out on the 17th, where I play xylophone in the song, and we digitally enhanced the xylophone to sound super, super crazy.
Or the toy piano.
And the toy piano, and make it sound super distorted through, computer programs. But it's more like we're putting like preamps on the instruments. We're not using any we're not using digital instruments. No digital instruments, no AI, none of that. It's but again, I say this like coming from a place of privilege, because like we play music, like we have the ability to play instruments, we have access to instruments, and I think that like there are like young kids out there that maybe they don't have like the financial means to purchase an instrument, and all they have is their GarageBand preamps. And like, if that's how you're creating, like create in whatever way you have access to, because it's only going to open more doors for you to create in new ways later. Like, I'm not in a position to tell somebody what's art and what isn't.
Right.
But yeah, no, I'm very much anti-AI in the art space in general. But like, I think in terms of like digital music making, like it's a really powerful tool. It's a very, very powerful tool.
I have a little bit different take. I don't, at this point in time, I don't know how you would leverage AI in music unless you were just creating everything in AI, right? But with that being said, a lot of the objections you hear about AI now in music, you heard about like auto-tune, right. And you heard about all of these, like even like the computer tracking and the ability to move the notes that you play so that it lines up better on the downbeat, all those things, they were all poo-pooed at some point in time and saying that was cheating. Right. And yet the industry eventually came around to figuring out how to use those things. I don't know what that's going to look like for AI. I don't know if it's even possible for AI. But I'm reserving whether there's going to be at some point in time an ability or some way that we end up leveraging it in making music. I don't know what that is yet, but I think that the possibility is out there. Just given technology comes along and it disrupts to a certain degree the system, and I think at some point in time we may see some way to use it. I don't know what that is yet, though.
Well, Frank, do you think that in the future someone could just write some text for basic lyrics and then have AI write the entire song, put it out on LP or EP,
and they're doing it
and claim it's theirs?
Sure.
Yeah, they're doing that now.
I mean, there's literally AI actresses, AI artists, AI people that are being branded as musicians, and that's where I think that's the big area where I take problem with it, is because again, there are real human beings with real incredible talent, and it's
exactly.
We're just we have gotten in this space where nobody wants to build community with anybody anymore. We'd rather stay behind our screens and argue from behind the computer instead of actually talking to one another, and we're just more comfortable being divided than we are with saying, reaching across the aisle and saying, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can I collaborate with somebody to do this? And instead of that, it's must take ownership of all of this stuff. And so we find any way. I think that's just a symptom of the fact that our society wants instant gratification on everything.
Right.
We're not willing to work that hard for anything. We're getting dumb. And I think that there's just too many not dumb people out there making incredible music to but I also think too that we also have to consider the fact that gig economy is a real thing, and we aren't this is people's livelihood too, and so we might need something from somebody else, but how much does it cost us, and is it more efficient for me to learn this myself or hand it off to AI or whatever it may be, so I just think there's a lot of gray space, a lot of unknown space in this region, and but I'm pro people making art and sharing and collaborating on art as much as possible.
And I'm anti-AI stealing what everybody does.
Yes, very much so.
But with all that said, I still maybe there'll be some way to use it in the future. I don't know, but at least at this point in time, I don't know how. So
I can't picture it without it feeling really.
I probably am not. I don't like the idea of AI artists, and I don't like the idea of there was that band that was on Spotify that was getting millions. AI is really good at mimicking beige, and it doesn't really do anything original. Right. And if you keep that in mind, that it's it does also create this kind of a ceiling to it and what it can possibly do, and it's just not going to be that creative to get you over that hump to make something special. So you can load a grocery list into AI and into some of those apps, and it will make a song out of it.
Right.
But that doesn't mean it's art. So
I kind of see it in the future. I see. Well, first of all, I think record labels are going away. Everything's going to be independent musicians. And then you're going to have two separate, literally, categories. The AI-generated computer stuff that anybody could write some text into it, like you say, and then it generates a song. And you're going to have real musicians. And which side wins out, who knows? But I'm like you. I'm going for the real musicians,
Here's the thing, though, is that I do think that with all that in mind, I do still believe, and maybe this is the optimist in me, but I do still think that human beings like to feel surprised. They like to be thrilled in a way that AI cannot do.
Right.
Like you said, it's really good at mimicking beige. I can't imagine AI coming out with anything that sounds like that new, song that's a collaboration between the Gorillaz and Sparks. I can't picture it, and maybe it is, but I don't know. I I think that on the whole, human beings are a lot smarter than AI, and they just, again, we're losing our patience, we're losing our edge, you know.
Right.
And I think we need to do a little bit more to like keep that muscle intact.
Yeah.
And the only reason the labels are dying is because they're teaching us how to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
They're putting us in that position.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not going to touch us, they watch the Spotify numbers like it's the New York Stock Exchange ticker. You know, and as soon as a band gets to 50,000 monthly, ooh, okay, they're hot. Maybe I should buy into this one. But the problem is, if I got 50,000 monthly listeners, I really don't need you anymore. So I've obviously figured out how to do this. Well,
don't get too cocky.
Well, I'm going to get cocky.
We don't have it all figured out, but I do think that the music economy is
changing fast.
Yeah, and it changes every day, and which is a hard thing, because like when you want to play music full time, when you want to be like an artist, as like if you want to write musician on your tax form, like it's not easy to do. Not with this music economy that we live in now. And again, it feels like when you do have a grasp on it, then the next hour it's like, oh, now this other song is blowing up on like Reels or whatever, TikTok, you know. I personally don't have TikTok. The fact that there's like a TikTok radio on Sirius XM is like weird to me. I'm like, You mean these are just all songs that go viral on TikTok? Like, that's bananas. I mean, it's cool, but like, you know, again, the culture of how we consume media is just it changes every day. So I don't know. I'll be curious to see what the next thing is. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep making music the way I like to make music, and that feels really authentic for me.
And yet, just like this podcast, I mean, you got to have ways to promote it. You got to get it out there to people. So your Instagram, your Facebook, your TikToks, all of that kind of become necessary tools. You guys utilize that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although we suck at TikTok.
I do too.
It's just like, I don't know, at a certain point in time, it's like, I can't, you tell me I got to load this into some other app.
I feel like we're too late for TikTok.
Maybe. I don't know. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
But.
Well, speaking of promoting, that's one of the reasons why I do this show, is to give bands like you a chance to tell people about your music. October the 17th, you've got a new record coming out. So tell us all about this new record that's about to drop.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will then. I'll go ahead and I'll do it. Oscar Bravo Juliet's coming out on October 17th. Mm-hmm. It is the final chapter of our NATO call sign trilogy. I think this was a record that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to be to make. Mm-hmm. It cost more money than I expected, but it was definitely a labor of love. I'm extremely proud of what we were able to accomplish in this record. I think that you'll find for White Rabbit Object, we really stretch our sounds in this record. Yeah. Mm-hmm. From the opener, Fallout, Shelter, then going into Monsters of Nothing, definitely things that we don't normally do with our songs. Those are not normal songs for us. On the record is a song called Low Key. It was a song that actually myself and River wrote together before even White Rabbit Object was a thing. It was the first time we ever probably played with music together. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we ever thought it would be something that we would release. But
I don't think so. But it found its place on this record. It really fits quite nicely. Mm-hmm. I think you're right, though, that like every song on this record is a culmination of what we've done and everything that's possible. And I truly believe that there's something for everybody on this record, and it really tells this, beautiful story of not only the evolution of like us as a group, but also like just like us as people and like what matters to us. And it's a really special culmination of songs.
Okay, so let's. You had mentioned that Fallout Shelter was the first track. Let's go through each track of the EP and tell me a little bit about those songs.
Fallout Shelter was originally just Fallout. So what you hear on the record in the first half of the song was the original idea of the song. River was watching me play the game Fallout, and she was blown away by the soundtrack.
It was all the ink spots, and I wanted to write something that was very ink spotsy. And again, this is another one that was written back in like 2019, and I never thought would have a place on any of our records, but it just was like the perfect like front and end to this record. So it's supposed to be like a little bit like old timey, a little bit dystopian, and very much like disorienting because it sounds so separate from what we normally do. And then we get like right into Monsters of Nothing, which is like this very Gorillaz-esque like
synthesizer,
social commentary piece on just our addiction to our online lives and our technology. And it sort of asks the listener to like just kind of stop and look up and wake up, and that's one of my favorite ones on the record. What comes after that?
After that is Broken Luck, which happened because I literally challenged River to write a song in under 4 minutes.
That was the result of that. I think you can always tell when it's my songwriting too. Like I tend to write songs that are like longer, usually because they're like kind of like, I don't know, I get in my feels with my music, so like I don't like to put time constraints on myself. But don't
get me wrong, like there really shouldn't be a time constraint, but it's there is a reality to radio. And when you're clocking in at close to 5 minutes on songs, radio isn't going to give you much attention on it.
This radio conformist over here.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to find ways to make money with this stuff. Pay for it. But I am Broken Luck is, I think, something that we all have felt at some point in our lives. Wouldn't you agree? That sort of kind of comes from the
Broken Luck is definitely like it's like life keeps handing it to you, like and you're just like, what, like life shouldn't be this hard, like why is life this hard?
Just happen.
And it's sort of that series of like feeling like every time like a good thing like is coming your way, then it just gets like squashed. Which like ironically, like I wasn't feeling that way when I wrote the song, and I think I've been feeling a little bit that way actually for like the last like month. I've been feeling like that, and I'm like, damn, this is a really good song. But also like very frustrating because I think everybody can relate to it.
Then Daddy Lollipop.
No.
And Daddy Lollipop was one of those songs that it was a combination of the two of us. I kind of had the music to it, and we had this idea in our heads that we wanted to write something that was a throwback, something along the lines of like the Nitty Gritty or some of those old dance songs from the late 60s.
It was just supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing else other than it was an opportunity for us to like step outside of like what we do typically. And although I don't know that I would say that we do anything typically, but this song was so far out of the scope of what we had previously done, and we just really wanted to write something that was like very throwbacky and had this very vintage feel to it with some modernity to it, to keep it modern and fun. But
so
dance song.
Yeah, hopefully. And then after that is Cash on Delivery. And Cash on Delivery was a song that we wrote earlier.
Also, years ago.
It finally found a place somewhere. What was funny, too, is that it was one of the... I had kind of like the musical idea to it, which is a very, I think, kind of I don't know, more of a classic rock or a straight rock song, probably rock and roll song. And I had that part of it, and I had the idea for a title to the song. I wanted to name a song "Cash on Delivery," and then River was like, "Hold my beer, I got this," and she had the lyrics down in like no time flat, like typical. I didn't know that the song had been kind of floating around us for so long, and finding a spot for it we were never really sure of. But as the band took its current shape, I think something happened to the song that hadn't really been there before. And especially when we play that song live now, we're like, I don't know, it's like just fire. Like,
yeah, I mean, that song in particular, we had tried to record it before in another studio with a different lineup of people that were playing with us, and it just always felt forced. And now with this current, I mean, I was like fully ready to scrap that song from our set list, from just like, and then we started playing it as the lineup that we have now, and it just like, it had new life breathed into it, and I'm really glad that we got the opportunity to record it, because it's really sassy, it's really like in your face and fun, and I really got to like have some fun with my synthesizers on that song, and so that it ended up being very, very cool. But again, I think that goes back to that idea of like, you have to do what serves the song. If it's not right in the moment, it doesn't mean that it's never going to be right. It just means that like it needs some space, it needs some time. And I think I needed some time apart from that song too, to like kind of give me the clarity of like how to reapproach it. And then with the feel that like Mike and AC give to that song, I think it really gave me a new perspective on like what was possible when we went into the studio and actually recorded it.
Yeah.
After that is Secrets, and Secrets is, I think we kind of wrote it as maybe more of a theme song almost to the band at some point in time. That this idea that we were a secret, it was a secret band, and those sort of things. And we were playing on those themes when we wrote it.
That's another one though that like I was fully happy to toss on the back burner until Mike and AC showed up and again like breathed new life into the song, because it was always like a really fun and cool song, but it just like, I don't know, there was a certain like energy and fire missing from this like mystery that was woven into the lyrics and the song. And again, like that's the one where you'll hear the me playing the xylophone on it. But yeah, I think that, with this lineup that we have now, like we were able to fully express like all the themes in the song, which is really like, this was never supposed to happen. Like this meaning like White Rabbit Object was never supposed to be a thing.
Yeah.
We weren't supposed to be making music together. It's this big secret, but it's fun if you tell someone. And like for us, it's like, it's us telling each other that, but it's also the other two, AC and Mike, that are part of this fold with us. And like it's sort of like, it's like the band's like dirty little secret song. It's it's fun. It's a good one. And then after that we have Tailspin. No, Low Key, which we sort of talked about before. It was one that we sat down and wrote together well before White Rabbit Object was a thing. And I think, I don't know, that song is always going to be really special to me, and I think it's even more special like now more than ever, because it's this sort of like call to action, like when the world around us is just so busy and grinding 24/7. It's like the only thing that we really crave in life is this ability to find joy in the mundane moments, and to be able to slow down and just like sort of be here now sort of thing. Which, and I think it's also like there's a twinge of like sadness to the song too, because it's like, there's all this imagery about like, still having to like submit to that grind a lot of the time, and knowing in the back of your mind that all you want is just those slow moments and with the people that you love. And Sometimes it feels very out of reach, but all the while, you know that you share that with one another, and you know it's always that sort of like thing that you're both chasing after. And then it's Tailspin Radio.
Yeah.
Tailspin
Radio was I was literally I had this idea in my head, and it took 3 guitars to make the sounds, right? And so I'm literally sitting there in front of the computer, and I'm laying the tracks down so that I can get this idea out of my head. And I laid the first, I don't know, I laid maybe just the bass line, which seems really simple if it's just sitting there by itself. And then I laid the guitar over it. And the guitar, again, is kind of simple, just sitting there by itself. But then it was the main riff that then, you know, went over the top of those things. And as I'm putting that main riff into the track, just as like a foundation piece, this one, River shows up at the door and she goes, "What is that?" And I was like, "I don't know yet. It's just music I had in my head." And she said, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And she came back maybe 20 minutes later, and she had all the lyrics to the song. I think all we did was move like a bridge to the last chorus. We like flip-flopped the last chorus in the bridge.
Yeah.
Or something stupid like that, but it was all there. It is our one attempt at making a political statement, and we'll leave it at that.
I don't think that's our only attempt at making a political statement. I think it's...
No, it is. It is our most direct.
Well...
Yeah. Can't argue with that.
I mean, maybe it's... Yeah. I get quite bored with directness sometimes. Everybody wants to be the loudest voice in the room instead of like actually like considering what they're saying. And so like while this song is certainly a political statement, not the only political statement that I feel that we've made in our music, but it is the most direct in the sense that like, you know, I'll let you, again, I don't,
we're doing it poetically.
I think that there's a way to get angry without saying like, I'm angry, you know, there's a way in art to make it more accessible. I don't know, and more interesting, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Saying I'm angry feels so trite.
That's what AI would do.
And it's, I'm angry. No, but I love that song. And again, I also think that too, with that in mind, I think it's like, you know, regardless of where you stand, I think that like artists have a certain responsibility to use their voices for the betterment of other people and for the betterment of those around us, and to speak up against injustice, and to do so in a way that feels, you know, really good for us. I mean, it's not always going to be comfortable, but I think it's, you know, it's necessary. So that's that song.
And then I Get Stuck.
Yeah, I Get Stuck is just
which is actually technically released right now.
Yes, that one is out everywhere now, wherever you stream your music. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most fun songs I've ever had the opportunity to record in the studio. It's just, I mean, it's straight garage rock. It's an absolute banger. I had so much fun writing the backing vocals for that song. It's very retro, but it's still, again, it has that modernity to it where you're getting, you know, you're getting the Sonics, but you're also getting like Olivia Rodrigo in this track. And I love because I think that there's like a universal
and toy pianos
theme here too, where it's like, you know, everybody's felt that way at some point in their life, just like stuck. And you know, I love that our music does that. I love that it speaks to like so many different universal feelings that we've all sort of had in different unique ways.
You were talking about that other cut that you said you laid down 3 different guitar tracks for it. Is that difficult to do when you're doing the song live, to reproduce that sound?
Well, luckily for me, we've got 3 guitars on stage when I'm doing it. So no, we're totally fine.
Yeah, we're good.
So, and it's like it's the bass guitar, it's the rhythm guitar and the lead guitar over it. So that I just had this idea when I was doing that. It was, it was one of those rare times. Like I would say that a lot of times I just hear when I'm writing music, I tend to hear like riffs, and it was one of those rare times that I actually heard like an entire production. Like I heard 3 guitars doing 3 different things, and the bass and the 2 guitars, and so it was. And for me at that moment, it was like, I can't just put that in a voice memo. I was like, well, how am I going to get this out of my head? Like, how do I, what do I do here? And so I was like, okay, to the computer, and laying the tracks in that way. So
when you guys are live and you're performing, you were talking earlier about lengths of songs and keeping them within 4 minutes or whatever. Do you ever do like long guitar solos, or you get so into the tune that you just start playing, just let it go? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Especially like in, we have this song called No Rainbows in Indiana. We do like call and response. We do longer solos. Again, on stage especially, I don't know so much in the studio, we don't really do that because again, we're like,
right.
Again, you have to think about what serves the song in the studio. And me or Mike or Frank just like wanking on guitar, for lack of a better term, like that doesn't do anything for the song, usually. But on stage, like, yeah, we love to have fun. We listen to each other. We get creative. We innovate. We leave space for each other to like, and the audience loves that. They love, especially when Mike solos. He's just like an absolute madman.
Oh, wow.
I think the most annoying thing though sometimes is like you'll have this moment on stage that you'll go, gosh darn it, why didn't we do that on the record? Every once in a while that happens, and you're like, So because it's amazing. Like the longer you spend playing a song live, like the more you find different ways to do it, right? And so it's always this balance. It's like, well, I've got all this new music. Well, don't play it because we're saving that for the record or the record release. And it's like, but at the same time, it kind of feels like I want to play these things because you got to knock out some of the bugs, right? You got to and it's always amazing to me, like things that will spring up and happen live that you didn't necessarily think of before. So. I remember when we did No Rainbows in Indiana, when we recorded that on the first album. Just before we recorded it, we were wrapping up the first EP, Whiskey Hotel Tango, and No Rainbows in Indiana was not going to be on that record. But we played a show here in Chicago where we opened up for a pretty big artist, Moonwalker, and it was at the Cobra Lounge. And we played that song. We played No Rainbows in Indiana, and the place went nuts for it. And we were like, "Oh, wait a minute! Like, I guess we have to put this on the record." And and when we ended up then putting it on the record, like the tempo came up a little bit. Like we had always played it a little bit slower even than it is, and it's still kind of slow. And now we're even playing it, I think, a little faster, quite honestly. But it's like it's really cool to have those moments where you're on stage and you're like, aha. Eureka! Those are eureka moments. That's how we'll do it. So
yeah. When you're live like that, and your lead guitarist goes into a solo or something, who would you say he sounds the most like? I mean, we're talking Santana or Eddie Van Halen or who?
No, he sounds like him.
Yeah.
I don't know how
Wow.
I hesitate to compare. I mean, he can hang with all of them.
Yeah.
Let that be known. But when it comes to style, like,
no, Mike serves the song. And
he's got his own style. I mean, and the man could play anything. Like, he could play the phone book and it would sound great.
Like, people a lot of times will talk to us about, we have this track called White Rabbit, Black Sheep, and it has this, White Rabbit, Black Sheep has got this very, almost like Indian, like East Indian, right? Kind of like sound to it. It's
very Egyptian. It's very
right.
Coming out of the vase.
And he can nail that. But then we have this other song. We have Once More Down the Rabbit Hole, which has more of, I think it's got sometimes it sounds almost a little bit more like Spanish sounding than a lot of our stuff. So and he does that too, so he can pretty much he serves the song.
Yeah, he's very worldly when it comes to guitar. He's got a very he's got a very good ear for just knowing what's needed. And again, he's one of those people that's not afraid to try new things. And so it's great. It was great being in the studio with him this past time, because I feel like our sort of like blinders came down even more in terms of like what the song needed.
Yeah, each of the records had a different guitarist as the lead guitarist. All three records had a different guitarist. So it's nice that we've landed on Mike, though, because Mike seems to be able to play everybody's stuff. So so it's been fabulous. He's just, I mean, it's really like you just wind him up and you say, "Hey, Mike, can you do something like this?" And he's like, "Yep, gotcha." And then he just does it. And it's amazing to be working with someone who's that easy to get along with. So
yeah. So you got this album coming out October 17th. Are you already working on a new album beyond that?
I can tell you that we have the name of the next record. I can't tell you what it is, but we do have the name. So stay tuned, friends. Yes, there is a White Rabbit Object 4 coming to you no time soon. Give me like a year. Give me some time. You might get a single or two in the middle, because I think that on the whole, Frank and I want to just be putting out more music in general, and not just doing like one big blob at a time. It's kind of, I'll be totally real with you. Like, making the record was a phenomenal experience. Sitting in the aftermath of making a record is actually, like, I find, like, just incredibly depressing. And so, like, you're on this high of this great thing that you've created, and then it's like,
it also feels like you put a lot of eggs in one basket.
Well, and you also live in this place of fear and self-deprecation of like, did I do enough? Am I good enough? And that's something that I think that I am not alone in feeling as an artist. And it's a lot of mental energy to be a creative person. Even creative people need time to sit and do nothing, I think. But with all that being said, though, I think that on the whole, some of that could be alleviated by doing little nuggets here and there, and just being more present throughout the year instead of letting it all ride on this like one big thing that we put all of our, like Frank said, all of our eggs into. So.
Well, speaking of eggs and nuggets, a band name like White Rabbit Object, do you slip in Easter eggs into certain songs or certain things that are kind of mysterious or people can look for it?
Yes, there is. Some of it's in the art.
A lot of it's in the art for the record, and for the songs. I would urge fans to look at the actual art on the physical CD itself, from start to finish, because there's
so the digital album art and the physical art, while depicting essentially the same thing, are different.
Very different.
Purposefully.
Yes.
So
it's all codes.
Yeah, and I mean, if you start exploring our website, you're going to find that there's codes on our website.
Yeah, there's codes galore.
So, there's an actual cipher in our website. So
there is.
Wow. Okay, October 17th, your new album drops. Give me the name of it, and then tell people where they can find it.
It is called Oscar Bravo Juliet, and you can find it on our website. If you go to our Instagram or our Facebook, you can go to the link in our bio and order the album there through Bandcamp. Am I missing some place? You can stream it on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can stream music. We will also have a vinyl edition that'll be available
on release day.
On release day, you will be able to get that delivered directly to your house. It will only be available online, so you vinyl lovers can rejoice there.
And if somebody wanted, say, an autographed album, do you have physical albums there you can send?
We'll have digital.
We'll be able to do that.
I'm sorry, not that. We'll have CDs for that. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, definitely put that on your list of music that you absolutely must have. White Rabbit Object. And what's your tour schedule looking like? Where are you going to be?
So we've got a show coming up in Rockford, Illinois next weekend. The weekend after that, we're in Indianapolis. We've got a couple of Halloween shows, local Halloween shows we're going to do after that. Playing our music, but going to have some surprises in there along the way. And then we're taking a break because we're going to Paris.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So,
are you going to perform while you're over there? Or are you going to perform? No, it's just vacation.
Mean, I can't say that no. I can't say no definitively because
River might show up somewhere at some point.
Yeah, there's a good chance that I will do something. But no, we just we haven't taken a pause in a minute, and I think it'll serve the next record really well for me to take a little break. Yeah, I think it'll be good.
Well,
Paris is one of my favorite places in the whole wide world, and
we'll see if we come back.
Yeah, we might come back. We'll see.
We'll see.
But I tend to get a lot of inspiration from the French way of living and learning. So I'm excited to see what sort of uncovers itself for me while I'm there.
It's also interesting to step back and look at your own country from another country and see how it looks from that perspective, right?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so after you get back, assuming that you do come back, you do this. You need to put together a tour where you go all the way around the country and you come back through the South and you come back to Texas. Hopefully you'll do that, right?
I gotta tell you, we've been in a lot of places, and honestly, like one of the places at the top of my to go back and playlist is Waco because I loved Waco so much.
And everybody at the Texas Music Cafe was
the best
just
of the best.
The best of the best.
Coolest people.
Yeah, they were fabulous. They took such good care of us.
Don't worry, we'll come back to Waco.
Back.
Yeah,
definitely going to make another. The hard part is like we've learned the hard way. Touring costs way more money than we make in the process.
Right.
And it's like you have to make this decision about, when can you go and what are you going to do? And it's really, for us, it's really been about, I think what it's going to be about moving forward as far as touring goes is like, if there's some kind of target at the end, if there's a festival at the end of that line where we're making money that we can recoup from the trip, then that's one way to do it. Right. So it's definitely something that we're going to be, watching, trying to figure out how to do.
I think that in 2026 we'll play less, but we'll play more intentionally, and we'll be really intentional about the shows that we are doing and why we're doing them. And I think just as a whole, like music listeners and consumers are like a little bit burnt out. There's always shows all the time happening, and while I totally believe that you should support local artists and that it's like, if we're giving them an opportunity to see us every single weekend,
right,
the odds of them coming to that are very slim. And so being really selective and intentional about where we're giving our time and energy, I think will be at the very top of my priority list for 2026.
Well, we look forward to seeing you definitely somewhere in the country, hopefully here in Texas.
You'll see us in Waco. I promise you that. I will get back there, whether it
come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water. Yeah, I'll be back in Waco for sure.
White Rabbit Object is the name of the band. River and Frank, thank you guys so much for being my guest on my show. I've enjoyed the hell out of this.
Thank you for having us. This is such a pleasure. I'm so glad we finally got to do this.
Okay, and we will see you next time on The J. Michael Show.
Goodbye.